Hi guys, it's Anya from Interior Design Hub, and I'm back today to bring you a really exciting video on the new trend that everyone's talking about, biophilia. What is biophilia, you may ask? Well, I'm gonna get into it. In today's video, I'm gonna go over 6 different ways to bring biophilia into your home and why you should bring it into your home. I guess you probably wanna know that. So what are the benefits of biophilia, why you should bring it into your home, and how you can do it easily, affordably, and look beautiful. All right, let's get into it. So whether it's from actual plants to wallpaper that have plant motifs on it, this trend is super hot right now. You're seeing a ton of it. So what is biophilia? You're probably thinking, oh my goodness, this sounds like some medical term. Like it just sounds like, does she have something wrong with her? But no. So here's the actual definition. I'm gonna put it on the screen for you. So biophilia is a term coined by the Harvard naturalist Dr. Edward O. Wilson to describe what he saw as humanity's innate tendency to focus on life and lifelike processes, and to be drawn toward nature, to feel an affinity for it, a love, a craving. So that is what biophilia is, but you're probably like, I still don't get it. Okay, don't worry. I'm gonna get you guys up to speed. And why you need to know this trend, why you need to apply this trend, and how to apply it in 6 easy tips. Something that I'm studying is for my Well AP, which you probably are like, what is she talking about? But I'm gonna get to it. So one of the features in the Well AP exam is actually on biophilia and its importance. If you've ever heard of the LEAD exam, there's another exam called the Well AP, and I'm actually in the process of studying for this exam, so I'm very familiar on what biophilia is because it's a part of that exam. It's feature 88. So it's the idea that humans have an affinity for the natural world, and it aims to address our psychological connection and need to be around life and lifelike process. Obviously, they got that from the other guy. So exposure to views and images of nature can help speed up healing and recovery time, boost positive feelings, and reduce negative ones. So why they've included this in Well AP is because it's about workplace wellness, or residential wellness, but basically it's to create a space that gives us everything we need as humans to be our best selves. So it's not just the components of the building, it's actually like what makes us feel good. Natural light, access to plants, water, airflow, all those types of things. So it really gets into that physical fitness, etc. So that's where biophilia comes in. And I think what's interesting is it's become a real big trend right now. So one thing you'll notice with design trends, much like fashion trends, it really is indicative of what's happening in the economy. And you're probably thinking, oh my God, this girl's just lost it. But honestly, when we're seeing things that are super modern and clean and like hard lines, we're usually like on an uptick. So that look tends to be really, really popular when we're doing as an economy as a whole really, really well. What we tend to find is that when the economy is like in a recession or we're dealing with situations that put us at stress, so like basically a depression or an economic recession is when we're feeling a little bit worried and not as confident about things, you'll notice that things tend to gravitate to a more warm, homey, comfortable, safe. So that's where this trend is really, you're seeing it because we're at a point right now in our current economic forecast that people want to feel safe. So there's a lot of anxieties in the world right now, and this use of biophilia in design is really helping combat some of those feelings. So when we see trends that are starting to come, you can really kind of get an idea of like what the feeling of the trend will be like. When we talk about biophilia, we are talking about things that make us feel better, and connection with nature is a really innate and natural way for humans to just feel better. So you're gonna see this really take a nice upswing, or you should see this take an upswing just based on kind of what people are talking about. So getting into this is why I think whether you are just designing your home, if you're an interior designer doing it for a client, these are the type of benefits that you will be providing for them by incorporating biophilia into the design. Source of inspiration, peace, and increased well-being, a decreased heart rate, decreased blood pressure, increased activity in the nervous system. So for a long time, we've moved away from the natural elements in interiors, specifically at the workplace. The recognition of these benefits, although wonderful in residential design, it's a major factor in office design due to the overall improved well-being of the employees. So how do we design with biophilia in mind? So there's a few key elements that we really want to touch on in order to bring this into your space, residential or commercial. So greenery, natural light, natural elements such as woods and stones, dynamic lighting, airflow, and water. An example is a living wall. So I'm going to touch on 6 examples and how you can do something like this in your own home. So example number 1 is a living wall. This is shown in a residential setting. So I think a lot of people are used to seeing these in like a commercial space, but you can actually do these at home, and you can buy pre-made kits to actually have these. They're a little bit pricey, but I'm going to show you a really like inexpensive way to get it as well. Also in residential, something else that's been really picking up on trend is moss walls. Now you can do this as simple as in a picture frame, or you can do a whole wall as moss. What's really cool is moss actually comes in like a bunch of different colors. So you can actually like do something really funky. If you want to do like purples and yellows and blues, you can do that in moss, and it's still a natural product. There's just this like, I personally really like moss. I think it looks cool. And in this image with the bathroom, I never would have thought to do that, but I really like it. And the moisture is good for it. All right, and to show you a living wall in a commercial space, so this is a cool example of how they've tied it into an office. I think this is a lot of fun. I like it almost looks like it's growing over their whiteboards, which I've never seen before, so I wanted to show this as an inspiration shot because I thought, how cool is that? And then I think something we've seen, or maybe if you haven't seen, I've seen this trend before and I think it's awesome. And it's the moss wall with your logo. So I think this is really cool for an office. It brings in that greenery. It brings in that biophilia that we're talking about. And I don't know, there's something about it that just, it looks sharp because you're almost like, what is it, you know? So how do we bring this living wall into your home? I think what's cool about this is you can actually do a lot of different DIYs. So you can just pick up some moss and have it already pre-made. I think there's lots of places that sell that, but I kind of wanted to get into a little bit more of how could you do it yourself. So using a palette, yes, like a regular palette, which I would say like clean that up, you know, maybe varnish it or something. I'm gonna link below the DIY project where it gives you the step-by-step on how to build this. But I think this is such a genius way of bringing a plant wall into your space, perhaps into your kitchen or dining area, that you can do on your own and really for not a lot of money. I think the most expensive part about this design is actually the plants. The second trend in biophilia is botanical shapes and form. So what's interesting about this is even just visually connecting with nature is enough to help instill some of these positive things. So we don't necessarily actually have to have the plants, but I mean, obviously you want to have the plants because it's really good for you, but I absolutely love this trend. I've actually seen it recently in some cafes where they did that awesome wallpaper on a back wall, and I just thought, oh my God, this is so cool. Just some examples of this really big, bold patterns. Now, that's what's super on trend right now. So that's what you're gonna see a lot more of, is actually doing these botanical walls in like this oversized pattern. What I like in the commercial side is this one actually has a lot of like texture and movement to it. They are lily pads, and I just think, wow, what an awesome way to bring in that natural component into an otherwise very boring space. I mean, it's gray walls, it's black chairs, it's like a dark espresso wood table. There's literally nothing in this space that pops except for that absolutely stunning lily pad wall. So when you look at these, you think, oh my goodness, okay, so we've got wallpaper, we've got a wall treatment, that's really expensive. And you know what? Yeah, I would say wallpaper isn't super expensive, but it can get expensive. And then there's the whole process of installing it. So how do I get this look at home? So you can do a natural DIY artwork. So I actually really like this idea where you take something that you could find in your local park, in your backyard, and just, a simple canvas you could actually even get at the dollar store, which, like, honestly, you don't have to spend a lot of money, and just putting it down and then spray painting it around it in whatever color you like or what goes with your color palette. So this is like, a $5 project, but it helps you bring in some of that natural elements into your home. Trend number 3 is natural textures. So think wood, stone, all of that stuff. Actually, that's Biophilia right there. I got twigs. My husband hated that I got those twigs. I'm just gonna tell him I'm on trend, babe. Anyways, so super trendy, not necessarily the twigs, but natural materials, okay? So natural materials. So here's an example of a residential space. Now, this is a little bit cold for my liking, but I still love this space. It's a lot. Like, we've got concrete floors, which is a natural material. We've got the stone walls, which is a natural material, pine board on the walls, and even the furniture. Everything's like with a linen, wood. It's all natural materials, and it gives you that connection to nature. In commercial, again, we're seeing a lot more with that large oversized print. Again, we see the use of the wood and the stone in this commercial setting, and even the shape of the honeycomb shape. I mean, yes, that's kind of been done already, but in this particular situation for this commercial space, it's a spa, and I really like these honeycomb shapes because it brings in like that extra element of nature. So everything in this space is tied back with a natural component, not just through the materials, but even through the shapes and the feeling that it's portraying. So how do we bring this into your home? Natural materials. Like, you don't necessarily want to redo your whole home just to get this trend. So the easiest way is actually just to buy some plants. So you can buy some plants and some beautiful pottery, whether it's clay or stone, and just create a little space, whether it's on the center of a table or on a nightstand or, on a bookcase. So, and I say go for the real plants. Yes, it's the imagery as well, but I really think going for the real plants in this case is the best way to achieve this look. And then just follow whatever the directions are for the plants that you buy. And if you tend to kill them, get succulents and cactuses. It's probably easier. All right, so natural views in residential. What I love about this, and especially this image, is it shows that yes, we want to have natural light, and although the goal would be to have that beautiful forest view, we don't all have that luxury. Some of us live in apartment buildings, so we can't always have the view to actual nature. However, with this situation, what they've done is they've actually created these exterior planter beds with these beautiful plants that are growing out of them. So basically you take advantage of all that beautiful natural light, and then you incorporate the plants, and it gives you that natural view, but you're kind of fauxing it in this case, like it's not real. So in a commercial setting, I absolutely love this space. This is a hotel, I think it's like a lobby area, and they have these huge expansive windows, but you know what? The outside isn't even the best view. The best view is on the inside. Look at that amazing living wall. I just love that. And then let's layer that in. They've got some moss if you look in the foreground, and then they've got all the natural materials with the leathers, and we've got stone, we've got wool, we've got wood on the walls. This is taking Biophilia to the next level. They're incorporating all of the factors. You may not be able to do that or bust out walls or have a huge giant, window of walls, but this is something you can still do even in the smallest of apartments. So I love this. It's a DIY from one of my favorite blogs, Design Sponge. Now they have this great idea for using these acrylic shelves that you actually put up in a windowsill, and then you can just line it with plants. And I think this is a really great way to get that natural view. And it's like so inexpensive. It would take a little bit of work. I mean, you need to put a little elbow grease onto this one, but again, so inexpensive and so beautiful. I think if you had like a little hallway window or somewhere in your bathroom where you could put these, I think that would be awesome. But even in a kitchen or over the sink, there's so many great spaces that you could do something like this. I think this is a great way just to add in an amazing natural view. So light's a little bit of a difficult one because obviously we all have lights in our space, but this actually looks at how lights and shadows appear in the natural environment. So lighting strategies have been studied in everyday environments such as schools, offices, and stores. The research has found that people are just more productive when they have more light, especially natural light. So a good example of this is in this beautiful residential space where we see this awesome fireplace. We also see how the light is playing off of the natural elements outside. This architect has designed this space with these beautiful palettes on the outside, and the play of light is absolutely beautiful. I love this place. I've never been here, but I want to go here just based on this amazing picture. Look at that ceiling. That is a picture of a skylight that's fully covered, and I can't tell, it looks like it's on the inside, but of a living wall. So what I love about that is that when the sun's actually shining directly through this, you would get a lot of that natural textures from the plant life that's in the ceiling, but it's just stunning. And then when you actually look throughout the space, there's so many variant levels of lighting around the counter where the people are standing. In the background, there's even, lighting highlighting somewhere off into the distance. And then we've even got that bright green cube that almost acts as another form of lighting that directs traffic. I think this is such an excellent use of lighting, from natural lighting to accent lighting, ambient lighting, and task lighting. And just so you know, guys, if you're looking to learn more about lighting, I've actually done a video on that. So I recommend, actually I've done 2 videos. So I'll link those up here and you'll be able to check them out and get some ideas. Let's get back to it. How do we bring dynamic and diffused light into your home? This one's challenging because obviously you have light. We want to go with that layering. So using our ambient lighting, our task lighting, and our accent lighting. But I really want to add some of that ambiance to the space. So a great way is to do a mood light feature. So I think this is awesome, where you take these little wire string lights and you put them in the glass domes, and it just creates that little bit of sparkle. It almost looks like fireflies. And I just feel like this adds that extra little touch. So the use of water. Water is one of those ones that I think we can all think of a time when we've been somewhere and you hear water, and it's a very calming sound. I mean, I think of meditation and I think of water. Like, I feel like that is really indicative of a calming space. So use of water in a residential setting is one of those really beautiful ways of incorporating this into a space. Now, this example here is an absolutely stunning water feature. And I mean, if I had a deck like that, I would just love to incorporate something like that. Super modern and super clean, and I could just imagine that trickle sound. Just beautiful. This space, I had to save this picture for one of the last just because it is fantastic. So this is actually in the Singapore Shanghai airport. Isn't that crazy? They have this glass ceiling where it's a waterfall that goes down the center of it. And again, this space takes into account all of the biophilia that we've talked about. Natural light, water, materials, plant life. It's all there. And this, I mean, I watch these travel blog, Kara and Nate, and they have been here and they said, like, the pictures, the filming, it just doesn't do it justice. This space is just something out of this world, and I would absolutely love to see it. Like, honestly, I don't even know if I want to go there for any other reason, but I want to see this space because it looks really fantastic. So I had to share that with you guys. But how do we bring this into our house? Because that's what this is all about. So bringing in a water feature, I was trying to think, like, I don't know about you guys, but I do not like those little water fountain things. Some people do, but I feel like that's a mess waiting to happen. But I also am not really interested in having like a fishbowl, which is another way, obviously, to bring in water. So I remember seeing it and I found it online, and it's these beautiful water gardens. Now this I love. There's another method where you actually can have a fish, and the plant actually sits on the top, and the fish feeds with the root system of the plant. So it's like self-sufficient and self-cleaning, which I thought, now that I could get on board with. these beautiful water features is a cost-effective project that helps you bring in that beautiful, tranquil feeling of water. And you know what? You can just go and buy the most gorgeous bowl for this and it could become a centerpiece, to be honest. I love this. All right, guys, so I really hope you enjoyed the 6 trends for biophilia. I highly recommend, if you're interested in learning more tips or more design styles, to check out some of my other videos. I'll post them up here. So that's the trend on biophilia. Now you can use the word and speak it with confidence because you know exactly what it is. And until next time, bye! I kill plants, just FYI. I try. Although it's not that new, but still it's hot and new in the design world. It's hot and new on the radar, I guess, whatever you call it. So a living wall in a commercial, tip number